York City's mayor, Eric Adams, is the most hot and cold human being. He does things where I'm like, good for you. And then he does things where I'm like, what's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? I cannot decide where I stand on Eric Adams. But anyway, he signed a bill that outlaws weight discrimination in New York City. Here's the headline from Fox. Mayor Eric Adams signs bill outlawing weight discrimination in New York City. And there's some critics of this saying, oh, this is just red meat for the ambulance chasing lawyers to just sue over every little thing. And when he was signing it, he said, I'm a person that believes in health. So when you talk about not discriminating against someone because of their body type, it's not fighting against obesity. It's just being fair. So I think this is the right thing to do. We're going to continue to talk about our progressive health agenda. Science has shown body type is not a connection to if you're healthy or unhealthy. And I think that's a misnomer we're really dispelling, first of all. Body type is not necessarily a connection to whether you're healthy or unhealthy. But being clinically obese, of course, has a connection to whether you're healthy, how long you're able to live. And I posted a question about this for you guys in the live chat saying, should overweight people be a protected class? 6% say yes, 94% say no. But here's the thing. I'm trying to think about what ways you might be discriminated against if you're heavy. So I can see in some fantasy land, I don't think this happens anymore, some sort of artificial vain discrimination like, oh, hey, we can't have you working as the secretary because you're not thin enough and you make us look bad. Do you really think that's still happening? I just really don't think that that's happening. The other thing I can see is if you're having trouble performing certain aspects of your job because of your weight, then you getting fired for that and you saying, hey, I was discriminated against on the basis of my weight, or if you have some sort of weight-related health issue, but isn't that against the law already? Because wouldn't that be considered a disability? If you have something because of your weight or your height, because that's included in this, that is preventing you from being able to do your job in a certain way, and you're fired over that, and you weren't accommodated for whatever disability you might have, there's already laws that protect you from being discriminated against over your disability. So I guess, one, I'm a little worried that this is sort of a slippery slope and that it also kind of encourages, I don't want to say encourages obesity, but, obesity isn't healthy. And I think it's okay for us to acknowledge that. There's been all these sort of body positivity movements where you have high-end fashion brands who have models who are like 400 pounds. I just saw a Calvin Klein one the other day where it's like, wow, that person is physically not well. And I just don't think that you should be lifting that up as some sort of beauty standard. I think that's weird. But the only way that I can see a rationale for this is if you have cases where someone is told, like, hey, you can't work in the women's clothing department because you're obese and we don't think people will want to buy clothes from you. But I just maybe you can look this up, Nicole. I just happen to think that there have to be other laws, like some blanket discrimination law that would be like, yeah, that's not a good reason to fire someone. So I was really curious to hear you guys' thoughts. If you have any thoughts on whether this should be a thing, whether it's necessary, leave them in the comments. But I just happen to think it's another one of those, laws in search, a solution in search of a problem, where it's like one person brought this up because they feel a certain way, and so now we've got to pass a whole law against it, and now all these ambulance chasing attorneys are going to be like, hey, do you think maybe you were fired because you're 20 pounds overweight or something? It seems completely unnecessary to me.